Hello and welcome. I'm Allison Cody, Executive Director of MAFSI, and I'll be leading today's webinar. We're so glad you're here. And we want to welcome you to What You Need to Know, a MAFSI SpecPath webinar for reps. We encourage you to take note of any questions or comments that you have during the call, and I will be answering those at the end. In the viewer, the webinar viewer, you'll see a box where you can enter in your questions. You can enter them in any time during the presentation. And then, like I mentioned, once again, I'll be answering all of them at the end. So additionally, we'll be covering a lot of ground today, and we'll make these webinar recordings available to you so you can rewatch them at your leisure or share them with your colleagues that may want to learn more about how to use SpecPath. So today's webinar is geared towards both SpecPath newbies as well as those who have some familiarity with it. We have about 73 rep firms that are currently signed up with SpecPath. So about 73 out of 200 total rep firms that rep equipment in MAFSI. So we know there's been a lot of buzz lately, and we wanted to design a webinar that would work for everyone, regardless of what you know or don't know about the program. SpecPath has been a labor of love of ours for over 2 years, so we're glad to be presenting it to you as a viable, thriving product. We feel confidently that SpecPath will forever change the landscape of the 11,400 specs in our industry, and we couldn't be more excited to show it to you today. So, what is SpecPath and why do we need it? I promise to make this brief, as most of you already know the reason for this. But with SpecPath, why do we need it is SpecPath was created in order to ensure that the right rep's getting paid for the work that they do. In most of your contracts, you're supposed to get paid for everything that comes in and out of your region if you represent that manufacturer, whether or not you are aware of it or not. Your contracts assume rightly that you had some sort of hand in that. Otherwise, or you will have to have some sort of involvement in that with that product because you represent them in your exclusive region. So we are just trying to get the right rep paid the first time. So in a nutshell, what SpecPath is the ability to read those 11,400 PDFs, parse the brands, models, quantities, and subsequently correlate each item to the right rep, the right consultant, and the right dealer. So you can even see which dealers are bidding and those that have been awarded. So the main goal of SpecPath is to get the right rep paid. So let's jump right in. For today's demo, I'll be using a demonstration database. So you will see that the user and then the manufacturer brands in this anonymized and random database are listed just like this. In your SpecPath version, obviously this would be your name, your rep firm, and then your brand's names would be listed here. So I just wanted to point that out as we go through, since it's a little bit strange looking. We do have real consultants and real dealers I'm running in here to show you, but other than that, it's completely all randomized, mixed up. So on this first screen, you'll find the dashboard. Like I said, this is a demo database. So in these boxes, SpecPath currently has 556 projects in the real system, which is at www.specpath.org. And there are over 130,000 items in SpecPath. I also want to mention, we now also have the ability for reps that have a rep firm in more than one region, and you have signed that additional region up for SpecPath, you are now able to log in using just your email and your original password. And you will be able to see all of your projects from all of your regions, all your consultants from all your regions, all your dealers from all your regions. So all of your information now will be combined in SpecPath, so you won't have to log into those regions separately. So great news on that front. I also want to mention that we have fixed all of the speed issues on SpecPath. So once again, I'm on a demo site right now, and that is running about 10 to 15 seconds slower than the actual real SpecPath. On the actual site, every page is loading within 2 to 3 seconds. So that's great news as well. So, all right, so now we're going to get started. So when you log into SpecPath, the first screen you come to is the dashboard. On this screen, it just sort of gives you an overview of the top things for you in SpecPath. In this first gray box, it shows you how many projects have been uploaded that affect you this week, this month, and all projects. And then how many projects have been uploaded in SpecPath this week, this month, and all projects. These numbers are not real numbers, like I mentioned earlier. So whether you get to see you do get to see every project in SpecPath if you have a stake in it, meaning you're the spec rep, destination rep, or origination rep, and you have a manufacturer on that project. So your feed or these projects get filled. If another rep uploads it, but you live where the consultant is, you're the spec rep, you automatically get to see that project. So these are not related to just your uploads. You get to see every project that any user uploads that affects you. So as we scroll down, we're going to see my top 3 brands. So MAFSI is currently running 857 manufacturer equipment brands in SpecPath. And these brands, we add a few every day, but that's pretty much we're maxing out. So we have, that is a pretty good number. How many equipment brands there are in the food service industry that go into specs? There's about 850. So different brand names. We are running both brands that use reps and don't use reps because we want the full picture. We want everything from the spec captured. So then top 3 consultants. We have 990 consultants in SpecPath, and that includes both the main office for the consultant and the branch office for the consultant. So if you were to be uploading specs and you type in CNE Little, it'll give you 9 choices for CNE Little to choose from, 9 locations. And then my dealers, we have 2,265 dealers in SpecPath, and we have hand verified or by hand verified all those dealers individually. We are running as well main offices, branch offices, and satellite offices of the dealers. So if you do get to upload specifications or to my dealers, and you notice a dealer is missing or a consultant is missing, even if it's just a branch or a satellite office, the satellite offices are sometimes the ones that are hardest for us to track down. Please send it to us and we'll add it right away. So we want every single dealer office, dealer satellite office, and consultants in here. So we spent a lot of time researching these. So we're pretty confident that we have the majority of in there. Since SpecPath launched on 7/11, we probably added 20 new consultants to the original list we had, and perhaps about 20 dealers. And then this screen also shows your top 3 market segments. Over here is just a map of MAFSI regions. It's not interactive at all. We plan to have it be interactive in the next couple of months. What it will do is it will start to show you how many projects are in each region. So for instance, if we want to take a look at region, and it will be color coded according to that. So if we take a look at region 15 here, we'll have a table that will say, maybe 1 to 250 projects, 250 to 500 projects. So you'll be able to take a look at this map and tell how many projects are in each region. And then you'll be able to use a radio button to toggle between, which markets are high spec markets, high build markets, or high sales markets. So you'll be able to tell that through this map as well. So next we're going to move on to upload specifications. And this is really where the rubber meets the road, and especially where we need your help. You guys are the most crucial part, our partner in SpecPath, because we rely on you to fuel it, I guess you would say, to make it run. So when you get a PDF, in from a dealer asks you to bid an 11,400, we ask that you upload it into SpecPath. It takes about 1 to 2 minutes per spec. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through that. I also want to mention too that one of our improvements in the last few days has SpecPath can now accept all specs, which all photocopies. So if you get a spec that's a photocopy, we can now accept those. We're successful with them about 95% of the time. If it's a really degraded photocopy, we may have to have you go back, see if you can get a cleaner copy. But we have software now that's pretty amazing and how much it can OCR those photocopies. So send all your photocopies. We can take them now. And then also submittal sheets or the drawings with equipment lists. So as long as the drawing has an equipment list in it, just send us the whole drawing. We'll cut out the equipment list, parse it, and do the same thing. And then, so we can take those now, and we could not take those earlier. And then the only thing we still cannot accept is military specs, but we can look at those eventually. So as I mentioned, we have about 73 rep firms that are on SpecPath. Only about 30% of those 70 rep firms are actually actively uploading specs. So I think some of you guys are just sort of sitting back and seeing what it's all about. And but I would encourage everybody to upload the specs if you can, because it will help everything. It'll help, cut down on duplicate projects running throughout the industry, having a correct project name, and tracking all these projects straight through, all the way through invoice. If we can get as many specs as possible as well, then we can make the system really fast. So every time that you guys upload a spec, it makes the system faster because we record that model number, the way the consultant writes their information, how they spell manufacturer, make, all this stuff gets added to the system, and then we never have to ever go over that error, again. So once we make the change and once the model number's added, then it makes the parsing faster and faster and faster and faster each day. So we need your support in uploading the specs so we can hopefully take this system and turn a spec out to you within a couple hours instead of now it's running about 24 hours for a regular spec and about 48 hours for a submittal sheet because those take a little bit longer. But we want, by the end of the year, we want to be able to turn this program so we can get that spec back out to you in a couple of hours. So then you can use the mini spec portion of here to quote straight, into auto quotes. So you wouldn't have to do a manual takeoff. So it's what I wanted to talk about, the uploading specs is, if you're using SpecPath, and you're signed up, we would love it if everybody could start uploading their specs because it's just going to make the system faster and it's going to help everybody because then here in a couple months, you could just upload a spec and an hour later you could go in and grab it and then, go straight into auto quotes and service the dealer much quicker. So that's my little speech. So on this screen, you go and you choose the PDF that you need to upload and just take the whole PDF because our system knows to skip the first 100 pages, go down to where the items start. It's smart enough to just say, I want this manufacturer, this item number, this model, this quantity, and then all the raw text, and then it moves on. So it parses all this stuff automatically. So just upload the PDF. You don't have to take, any of the pages out or anything like that. Then, then you have to hit load. And then that opens up the project to you. So then just type in the project name. And then we ask you to type in the state and then the city. So we can narrow it down because there's a lot of states that have the same city. And then you choose that. What SpecPath is trying to do for each of these specifications is find out 3 pieces of information because we need to know where the project's located, where this specifier is located, and where the dealer is located. So, and that's how we get our 3 reps that would perhaps, deserve credit on this project. So right here, so we see that we entered Atlanta, Georgia, and now we know one of the pieces of the puzzle where this project is. Then we choose a market segment. If you know the estimated bid date, if it's on the document, we encourage you to put it in here because it just makes the system better for everybody, just to have everybody have a consistent view of what's going on in the industry. We know a lot of the times that it does not have a bid date, but if you do know it. So then we move down to the consultant section. So as I mentioned, we have 990 consultants that are in SpecPath. So you just have to start typing the name of the consultant and or design dealer. So design dealers are a tad different. So consultants, just start typing and then the list narrows. So I'll choose Camacho and Associates, little Atlanta love. So Camacho Associates, now we know the second piece of information, which is where the consultant lives. So back to design dealers. We added the functionality for design dealers just about a month ago. So we don't have that many in there, maybe 20. All you need to do is, well, let me show you how you can tell. So a design dealer has the word design dealer behind their company name, where a consultant does not. So, Trimark SS Kemp is in there as a design dealer, and you can put any design dealer you want in here. We just don't have a lot of them. So if you need to add a design dealer and they're not coming up in this box, you just click here, tell us the name of the design dealer. More than likely they're a regular dealer, so we just go in, click their record and say this dealer is also a designer. So, and then boom, they appear. So, but you go ahead and upload your project and all the information, click save file at the end, and then we'll do it for you on the back end. But then once that design dealer has been added, they'll be there forever. So you won't ever have to do it again. If you don't see the consultant that you need on the project, meaning that they're missing from our list, all you do is type in new consultant, click here, and then also click here. Just give us the name of the consultant. Once again, we'll add it on the back end because you give us the name of your project. We add it on the back end, add it to your project, and then let you know that it's been added. So then, and then once again, that consultant's in there forever. A lot of the time we know that you might not know who the consultant is on the project, either the header's stripped or, for numerous reasons. So, so all you need to do is type in unknown consultant. And then we know. So we've already been successful on the back end of putting these projects together. So let's say that a dealer asks you to bid a project. There's no headers. They don't know who the consultant is. And so you just say unknown consultant here, and then you upload it. And then what we've been successful in is, because we're using the power of the MAFSI members across North America, that rep, wherever this consultant lives, has the same project and knows who this consultant is. So when he uploads the project and he writes in who the consultant is, because he knows who the consultant is, because it's a consultant from his region, then we match those two. And now suddenly the rep that uploaded this project that didn't know the consultant, now everybody knows the consultant. So it's kind of the beauty of the software. So we'll go back here and add Camacho. And now we move down to dealers. So you can see all consultants in North America in here. You can only see dealers from your region or regions. So to begin typing the list of the dealers, and I'm going to just enter some dealers in here from New York, since that's where I'm from on this. And so I've added 2 dealers, and then I click save file, and then the PDF is uploaded to our system. We've also speeded up this page tremendously. So like I said, it takes 1 to 2 minutes. Once again here, if you don't see a dealer that you need, just click here to add the information. But you can also, if you don't know, say that it's a project that was spec'd in your region, but your dealers didn't ask you to bid it. But you know who the consultant is. So you can do that. You can save a file without adding a dealer. You just can't save a file without adding a consultant. If you don't know the consultant, then just type in unknown consultant. But you can save a file without adding a dealer at all. So if you added the wrong dealer, just click here and re-enter right here. So now for duplicate projects, if we have a duplicate project, meaning somebody's already uploaded that PDF, you'll get this message. This project has already been uploaded into SpecPath. You can add a new dealer to the project and view the current project details below. So down in this area, you'll see you can't type because we already have the project. So all you need to come down here is then add your dealer, click Save File, and your dealer's been added. So the system will know when it has a duplicate PDF. If the PDF's been changed in any way, like if one's original and one's a photocopy, so that it's not, it reads on where the information is, but it also reads on the size, or if a page has been removed or something, we'll catch them on the back end as well. So we have front end controls and back end controls for projects. So for duplicate projects. So right now, I am going to move on to my projects. My projects is really this screen is really the mothership, I guess you would say, of the program, because this is going to show you all of your projects in SpecPath. So, and that means you can see a project if you have a manufacturer on that project and you are in one of the three locations where the project's being built, where the consultant lives or consultant works, or where the dealer's office is located. So this main table for the projects, this is showing that, so this is all the projects for this rep firm, and then this is their filtered projects. I'll get into these filters in a minute. So this is all the projects that this rep firm has in SpecPath, and they're currently listed down here below. You can use anything or any of these column headers to sort the different columns, and this is true of any table in SpecPath. The only one that we can't sort at the moment is project region, because sometimes there's more than one region on a project. And I'll get into that. And then also dealers, because the dealers, are running in this type of list. So, but you could search for a dealer up here. So for instance, if I wanted to just search for projects that Pasco is on, I can do that. So anytime you want to clear your search, just click reset. So in this table, we have the project ID. The project ID is the most important field in SpecPath. So the project ID is what's going to help us as reps and as an industry make sure that it's essentially the job name that we've always wanted to be carried on throughout the project that we've talked about for years. So what we're going to do, this project number, they're all unique. They just started up from zero. It was recommended, that's what most software developers recommend, just to make it simple. So, but no, this is a unique ID to this project. So if you can imagine, if we can keep this number attached to this project all the way through AutoQuotes, all the way through Orgo, all the way through maybe Salesforce, or if you use other programs, if you just take this project number and carry it with you throughout the entire thing, then not only, and we've talked to the manufacturers about this as well, and they're willing as well, then we can all come back together at the end, even with these invoices, and figure out, even with POs and acknowledgments and invoices, and figure out, hey, did these jobs ever really come to fruition? Or, or did these items come to fruition? Sometimes stuff changes so much from when the consultant wrote it to when it ends up. But if we can just hold on to this number, then everything can come back together, including Orgo can come back in and talk to SpecPath, and we can take a lot of stuff out of your guys' hands if you're using Orgo, or even in your Salesforce, even with AutoQuotes. So project number, most important. We're going to be talking with AutoQuotes. We're going to be adding a field in AutoQuotes called SpecPath project number. And then, hopefully we'll be working on some exports with them. I'll show you some of the exports we have currently. But project ID, this is going to be an ID you're going to want to carry with this project. Project name, obviously these are just anonymized data, but in your real system it would be Mission Hills Elementary School, best restaurant ever, ABC, whatever the name of the project is. We encourage, if there's a name of the project in the header, to use that exact same name, so then we can have a trail as well to say, and cement that this job name is this job name from the very beginning, and we don't want it changed. Then it has project city, project state, project country, project region. Shows you who the consultant is, who the dealers are, the market segment, how many spec items you have, how many destination items your rep firm has, how many origination items your rep firm has. So, if this project had 100 items on it, you have 4 spec, destination, and origination. What project status, bidding or awarded, estimated bid date, awarded date, and upload date. Estimated bid date, this is the date that we ask you for when you upload the projects. Most of these say undefined because this is an old database. Awarded date, and then upload date, that's the date that the project was uploaded by some user, not by you, maybe not by you, but the date that it was uploaded to the system. So you can also use these filters above to do some more targeted searches. So if you just want to look at projects, your specification projects, you can click this button. As you can see, this number changed down here. Destination, origination, and then all. You can use these filters down here as well to look for projects that are just bidding or just awarded. We'll also be adding a closed feature here. Oh, excuse me, right, as a third option in this box, because we don't want to keep your feed down here very large, once we get 6 months down the line and some of these projects are closed out. You can also search for where the project region is, meaning where the project's being built, because it might not be being built in your region. And if you want to look by certain region, by market segment, and then by dates. I want to look from this date to this date when it was uploaded or awarded or bidding. So you can search by date as well. You can also enter in any keyword on this page to search for anything. It just is searching for stuff on this page. It's not getting into the items or anything. So you can use any of that keyword search, and then the alphabet just takes you to the name of the project. And then you can sort any of these. So also from this screen, one of our new features is add a dealer. So if you're scrolling through this list and you say, oh, well, I was asked to bid that project as well, but my dealer's not showing on that project. I want to add my dealer. All you do is click add a dealer, and it's going to take you to the add a dealer page. On my projects and my mini specs are the only 2 places you can add a dealer to an existing project. So you click here. You can do it on upload specifications, I guess, if you upload the same PDF, but it's easier just to do it here. So add a dealer to the project. You can't fill in any of this information because it's already been done. Then you just do the same thing here. Add the dealer. Now we do require you still to have the PDF. So you can't just add a dealer if you do not have the PDF. So then you choose the file. Load it once again, and then add the dealer. So this is project 154. We go back here, and now you'll see that that dealer has been added to this project. So you still do need the PDF, though, to add it to the project. So now we'll go into the individual project screen, which will show you the details of the project. So I chose this project to show you guys a couple of different things that we all know are realities in MAFSI and in the industry. There's this project 417. It's located in Monticello, New York. Monticello, New York, that portion of New York is shared by 2 regions, New York Metro and Upstate New York. So while this is a one-to-one relationship, meaning there's one rep that is, is going to split this commission. SpecPath shows that there's 2 reps, in this region for this project. So it's still going to work because the manufacturers and the reps know which one is which, which rep has that certain portion because it's in their contract. So they'll be able to tell. I've also chosen unknown consultant for this, so I can show you guys how we're going to crowdsource. And then I have taken a dealers from all over the country to show you what that looks like as well. So let's take a look. So individual project screen. This first summary table is just basically the same information we saw in that first table where we just came from my projects. The only difference is we show the consultant's SIS number. Obviously, we don't have it for this one because we don't know who the consultant is. And then the only other difference here is admin's comments. This is very rarely going to be filled, but there are some special or weird cases. We had a spec come in that was about 1,000 items, and the first 500 did not have model numbers. And we verified with the rep, and they verified with the consultant that that was the way it was written. So we just didn't want you to think for some reason that there was something going on. So it just said, first 500 items. So very rarely you're going to see that filled. That just means something that you might need to know on the project. So over here, we also have the dealer table. So here are all the dealers that are bidding on the project. And if you click here, the dealer change logs, that's just going to tell you after the project's awarded, who awarded it. So, so right here we can see Buffalo Hotel Supply, Culinary Depot, Atlanta Fixture, Bearing, and Ace Mart. You can also add your dealer, excuse me, I misspoke earlier, from this screen as well. So down here is our item table. So in this item table, it's showing my rep firm that I have. This is my item number. This is the brand, primary, alter, equal. Like I said, we have an algorithm that's built into the system that determines these. I just wanted to mention, when the spec is uploaded to us, all of the specs are checked by hand or by a person. It parses automatically, it does that, but we just don't, trust machines completely. So every single spec is reviewed. We have quite a few people, that's all they do all day is review specs. So description, this is a description that the consultant put in. Eventually, we're going to be dropping all of these into major product categories, minor product categories, and master product categories. And they are the same product categories as the NAFM size and shape study. So what you'll then have over here is something called like my spec share. So you'll be able to tell by clicking on that, of all the hand sinks that are spec'd in my region, I have 7% of the spec market when it comes to hand sinks. So again, that's not, it's in the works. We're working on it right now, but so it'll be pretty exciting. So, but this is the description that the consultant uses. We just have to combine all these and develop aliases for all of them, because some consultants write reach in, comma, refrigerator, some write refrigerator reach in, so we just have to pull them all together. The model number, the quantity. So we're running, regular quantities, obviously. And then, if they say quantity per plan and then lots, so that's what those look like. So primary, alt, and equal. If the consultant lists the equals model number, then yes, we put it in there. 100% of the time they don't, as you guys know, they don't list the alternates model number. So you won't see model numbers for alternates, but I'll show you something in a minute that might still help those alternates do a quote. So on this, so then we also look, and so for the spec rep, these are actually going to be, these are names of MAFSI reps once you're in the program, the actual program. So, but at this point, the reason this says non-member undefined is because we do not know who this consultant is. Then destination rep, and this number in front of the rep firm's name is the region that they're from. So our destination rep, we already know that it could be this rep and this rep just based on the region overlapping. Anytime you see your name in blue, that's you. So you'll be able to easily identify yourself in this table. And then right now we have 5 reps, I guess you would say, in the running for origination. So anybody, when this box is available here, either a rep or a manufacturer, if you know the consultant, we highly encourage you to enter it. So if we were to add the consultant, boom, so suddenly our third piece of our puzzle's filled in, and now we know who the spec rep is. For this spec rep as well, you can see the Region 20 is Mountain States North, just to let everybody on the phone know. Mountain States North is 5 states, including Arizona and New Mexico. And then Arizona and New Mexico are also their own region, Region 21. So they have 2 states that overlap. So this is very common in Region 20, meaning that this manufacturer's showing 2 different reps for Region 20. So, but they might not carry it in the same state. So it does indicate a problem as well for other regions that don't have overlap. This means that 2 reps in the same region are claiming this manufacturer. It doesn't happen very often, but it does, and it could mean that a rep might have resigned the line and a new rep picked it up, but somebody didn't update their membership record. You have to update all your membership records in MemberClicks, which is the main MAFSI membership system we've been using for years, because all of that is the data that's used to fuel SpecPath. So in a lot of cases, if you see this, it's usually meaning pay attention, we need to figure out what's going on. If you guys email us, we'll verify with the manufacturer and also the other reps. We don't make changes to anybody's line list without their knowledge. So this one might, since I don't know who these are, this might be, I don't see actually how it could be the same manufacturer. But anyway, long story short, that's what that is. And so once you know who has been awarded the job, we ask you also from a crowdsourcing function to go in here and click who the awarded dealer is. So if your dealer has been awarded, then you're going to click this awarded dealer. It's going to ask you, are you sure you want to do this? Because once you do it, you can't take it back. So you can contact us and we can unaward the dealer, but you won't be able to unaward the dealer once you award the dealer. So, but yes, we want to award the dealer. And then here we go. Now it's 1 to 1 to 1, essentially. Anytime you see non-member, that means that that rep is not a member of MAFSI in that region. So from here, you can also view the mini spec. And the mini spec this screen is exactly the same. It's down here. This is exactly the same as the project screen we were just on. None of this is different. The only thing different on this page is that it runs the full text. So this gives you all your accessories that you need to use to quote into auto quotes. So, if once this, we know that it is taking, up to 24 hours to 48 hours to parse these specs. So it's not viable right now for quoting. And it was invented to help track spec credits. But this is a benefit that we see as a result of it. Not now, but by December 31st. When we can have this, if not sooner, the more specs we get uploaded, the sooner we can make this happen. So, but you could have this open on one screen and be quoting into auto quotes on another screen. Eventually, we would like to work with auto quotes to have this be an automatic export. So you can quote and service the dealer faster and faster and faster. And so this is sort of, if you can think your manual takeoff, you would no longer need to do that. This is an automatic takeoff because it's just your brands. And we always like to say the PDF rules. So if it's in the PDF, it's in this table. So if you are an alt, you'll be able to see who the prime is. So you'll be able to do the quote. Any of the pages too, you can export to CSV. So if we export this to CSV, this is a pretty extensive table. It includes all the project information as well as all the consultant and all of the dealers bidding on the project. So I don't know if you wanted, we'll be working with Orgo and whoever else, auto quotes and stuff to try to automate some of this stuff. The Orgo stuff is going to come out of auto quotes anyway, so that's already automated for you guys, but we'll automate some stuff on the other side, bringing it from Orgo into SpecPath and vice versa at the end of the project. But so any of these screens, you can do export to CSV. You could also fill in the bid date here if you wanted to, if you know it. So that is the project details page. Oh, you can also, if this, say you had 30 items on here and you just wanted to find a certain brand, you can just put that brand name in here and search, and it will just look for that one brand you have on that project. So next we're going to move on to My Brands. These are all the brands of your rep firm that are in SpecPath. On this page, an S next to any of these brand names means that they're a subscriber of SpecPath, and they see the same thing on their side. So when they have a thing called My Rep Firms, or a button, excuse me, and they see next to your rep firm's name if you're a subscriber. So on this table is all your manufacturer brands, how many items you have with them, primary, alt, and equal in total, spec items, destination items, and origination items. On any of these screens, you can switch between items and projects. So if we sort this, you'll see these numbers change. So if I'm looking at items, I have 233 prime items with this manufacturer. If I switch to projects, obviously that number is going to go down because we're looking at projects and not at items. So you can, once you click on a brand, it then, it's pretty quick, but it jumped me down to this next table. So here's that brand, that manufacturer. Here's all the projects that I'm on with them. And then here's how many items I have with them on each project. And then you can drill back to the project from here. And then you have totals down here. So this is kind of hard to see, but you see how this total items is underlined? We're going to be making this more obvious for you guys too in the next couple of days. But total items, if you just wanted to look at spec items, you click anywhere over here. You'll see that changed. What else changes too are these numbers down here. So now these counts are only for spec items. Over here, and I know that this is hard to see, but I know that over here is origination. So if I click here, now it's just origination items. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, it's changing down here. So these are just origination items I have with these brands and just the projects that I have origination items on with this brand. So, and like I said, we'll be making this a little bit more clear. Once again, you can sort these, any of these column headers, and export this to CSV. So next we'll move on to My Consultants. Well, before I get to that, let me cover one more thing. So on this page is listing all of your brands. As we know, reps resign lines, new rep takes on the line all the time. So for a line change, we're tracking that. You change your lines in member clicks, but SpecPath will know because the data comes down into SpecPath all the time. If you had a line on 9/9/2016, September 9th, 2016, but the next day you don't have that line anymore, then the countdown of 30 days begins from the minute that you don't, that the system knows, and the system will know every day when you don't have that line. And you will be able to see that brand, that projects, everything associated with that manufacturer brand for the next 30 days. So anything you need, you're going to need to get to gather or whatever in that next 30 days, because after that, you will not be able to see that manufacturer anymore. And, that is in line with most of your contracts. And so that is the reason why we made that decision. So for 30 days, you'll be able to see the stuff in SpecPath if you decide to resign a line. The new rep on that for that manufacturer will be able to see the same, be able to see everything on SpecPath immediately when they take that line. So old rep sees it for 30 days, new rep sees it immediately. My Consultants, this is a list of all the consultants in your region and what they have on you for projects for total. So for primary, alt, and equal, of course, this is just specification because they are your consultant. And then you can click this button. This is listing all of your consultants. As you can see, a lot of them are empty and the list is sort of long and intimidating. If you click this box, it's only going to show you consultants that you have item or project activity with. So, and once again, if we watch these numbers, you'll see that they increase and decrease because we're looking at items, then we're looking at projects. So if you click on a consultant. Then it will take you down to the different brand. These are your manufacturer brand names. And then you can drill down deeper with that. And then it tells you what items and how many prime, alt, and equal, and then what projects they belong to. And then it also has your accounts. And you can see the trail. So this, I'm looking at Clevenger Frable, and I'm looking at this manufacturer brand. And then you can drill back to the project as well. My dealers operates in the exact same fashion. So all the dealers for this rep firm, and you can just look at dealers with activity. My market segments is the same. We can just look at activity and also switching between items and projects. Total, all, primary, alt, equal. My mini specs. We went over this a little bit, but we were looking at an individual mini spec page. This is the master page for mini specs. It has the same filters as my projects because it's basically the same representation of that my projects page. You can add a dealer from here as well. The only difference is when you click on the project, it's going to take you to that extended text view. And this text view doesn't show you who the spec rep is, the destination rep is, or the origination rep. This mini spec page is mostly just to help you just see your items and get the full picture on what the accessories and all that information is. So you click here, it takes you to there, or you can go over here. If you click this mini spec over here, it takes you to the same place. Or if you just want to export the CSV without going into the individual project, you can do that right here too. So this is just a CSV that we saw a minute ago, but just for this project. So it's just a quick way to say, okay, I'm ready. I need to quote. I want my CSV or my mini spec. I keep saying quote. That's by December 31st, you'll be able to do that. Right now, you can look at them, but we can't promise that we're going to get them done in time for you to quote. You can probably do a manual takeoff now at this point 10 times faster than we're doing them in 24 hours for you. So, but eventually. So I won't go over any of these filters because they're the same. My credit tracking. My credit tracking is just on this test server. It's going to be available on the main SpecPath early next week. So my credit tracking, my reports, and my account, these 3 tabs are going to be all available hopefully on Monday for you in SpecPath. So you will not see those if you log in today. But so my credit tracking, this is the main crux of why SpecPath was developed, was to help you guys get paid. So what this screen is showing you is you can switch between paid and unpaid credits. So these are all your manufacturer brands, how many credits, and the table functions, pretty much the same. So if we scroll down here, so I'll pick one from down here so you guys can. So we're looking at brand 814. Here's the project ID. This is what the name of the project is, who the spec rep is, who the destination rep is, who the origination rep is. So, and then the PO, acknowledgement, and invoice. On the manufacturer call earlier, one of the manufacturers said, we're already giving this to AutoQuotes. Can you just grab it from there? And we said, sure, if AutoQuotes is willing to do that, so we can hopefully fill this in. Right now, it's usually only the origination rep that has this. But once this PO number, acknowledgement, and invoice is filled in, every rep will be able to see it on the project for this brand, if they have this brand. So, it's by brand per project for the POs, obviously. And we want the manufacturer to acknowledge that they paid the spec rep. And then we want the rep to acknowledge that they've been paid by the manufacturer. So hopefully, those can go by the wayside once we get people actually paying the right person. But we kind of wanted to say, you got to still, you all this information is great, but you still need to confirm that you're paying the spec rep. So, and then primary, alt, and equal. And some of this information as well, we can pull if you're willing. We can pull it straight out of your Orgo, or Orgo we know for sure. I don't know about the other systems people use, but pulling this out of your Orgo so you would not have to do this on your own. So this is just a list. And then if we click on the project here, oops, I didn't mean to do that. So let's go back here. and click in this box or in this thing, and then it opens up, and then you can see all of your brands on the project, not just 814. And it gives you an opportunity just to do it here as well. So this is this is all the brands on the project. And so you could, if you knew other POs or stuff, or so anyway, and this we'll be able to see these fields too as read only on the project screen when you're in there. So my uploads, this is just a screen that shows you what your company has uploaded. And it's by upload date, and then just gives you sort of this. And then if we have a note to write back to you, this is a military spec. We cannot parse this. You'll see that here. So these are what your company has uploaded into SpecPath. My reports. We were asked to create something that you guys could use to mix and match a bunch of different fields. So we're just giving you the opportunity to mix and match a bunch of different fields, all the fields that exist in SpecPath. So you can say, I want to see a list of this and this and this with this and this. And I want to count the brand types, and I want to look just by primary and add another one. You can add how you want to sort it, and then run report. You'll be able to save the reports that you develop, and it'll have a date feature, so you can run them according like to January or the first quarter, or January 12th through February 6th, however you want to run them. And we'll have some predefined reports for you as well. So this will be coming in the middle of next week, actually. And then you can do any of your exports here, but we were asked for a system where you could mix and match a bunch of different things together. So that's what we are going to be giving you. And then our last new section is My Accounts. So My Accounts, this will is by user, and you can choose how often you want to be notified. So if a project's uploaded and it affects you, meaning you have items on it, do you want to be notified by email immediately, like, do you have a new project in SpecPath, or daily, or weekly, or monthly, or I just want to be notified every single time. This will be a daily summary, a weekly summary, and a monthly summary. You can click as many as you want. So project consultant, it's project consultant added, project dealer added, project awarded, and bidding date added. All these should say added and not changed. And then you save them. Remember, this is by user, not by company. So each user can choose how often they would like to be notified of these events. Payments is in here for any current SpecPath users. Yours, we already have yours, so yours would not, but this is where you would sign up, and then it shows you how long your 30-day trial, when your 30-day trial would start. So pretty simple. I'm going to just really quickly buzz through just one more section on help. So we have a whole help section for SpecPath. If you click this support, this is our whole knowledge base. So we have all these different types of guidelines and articles on how to navigate around SpecPath. So if you open up any of these, this shows you how to navigate around the My Consultant screen and tells you what each of the buttons do, how to do exports. So once again, that whole knowledge base is under this support tab right here. We also have a widget on the site that allows you to look at this same sort of help articles in this smaller box. So if we were to try to find that same one that we were looking at, this is the same one we just saw on the big screen, but here it is in the little window. And then if it's too little here, you just do this and it takes you to the same place that we were just at a minute ago. If you have a question that you cannot find the answer to, or anything else that you need to ask us, you can just click that contact and then type in a message, and it will go to our help desk, and we'll get back to you within a couple of hours. So that is the help section. So at this moment, I am going to thank you guys for all your questions. Start the question and answer portion of this. I'm going to leave my screen up in case I can answer the question by showing you. I apologize. I am a little bit close to 3. If you have a question and you need to go, please just send it to us at specpath@mafsi.org and we'll answer it. I apologize. If you don't have to go, I encourage you to stay on for just 10 more minutes and we can go through these questions. If you have a question, please input it into the question module on your screen or on the viewer. So let's get started here. First question. Is the My Projects an individual projects or that rep firm's projects? The My Projects page is the projects that are for your rep firm. So those are the projects. And I apologize because it's really hard to kind of visualize it here with just these names and numbers. But these are the projects that for your rep firm, meaning you might deserve a piece of the pie, but because you have 4 spec items, 4 destination items, and 4 origination items, according to sheer fact on this project. So yes, these are projects not for the individual user, but for the rep firm. Ooh, great question. How do you upload revised specs? I did not touch on that. Revised specs, we're working on the addendum function right now. We need to flesh out a few things with the committee about how you guys want to see those addendums. Do you want to see them as another set of information? However, we do have the ability right now. We have a tool that we had built that takes out all the strike through and renumbers and does all that kind of stuff. So if you have a addendum now, go ahead and send it to us. What it's going to be most likely put in though is we'll take out all the strike through. We'll make sure that you don't quote anything wrong. We'll we renumber all the stuff. We act like the strike through wasn't even there. Let's put it that way. And then all the new stuff is in there. And, but right now though, we're getting some of those, but they're just being uploaded as sort of new projects. We take out all the strike through and then they go up. Now, a couple months down the line here, then we're going to really start beginning the revisions to other projects that are already in the system, if that makes sense. So we're developing that addendum module right now. If any of you have uploaded a spec that's already in the system and you know that and you have an addendum, go ahead and send it to me and we can use it to be the test. But so far we have not received any addendums for the current projects that are in SpecPath. But if we expect those to start happening here within the next month. But if you do have an addendum to a current project, please send it over. There'll be a button on this upload specification screen where you'll indicate this is an addendum. So, but yeah, we will have that live in a couple weeks. So the next question, what if you can't get the city info or you need to add a city that is not listed? So for a city that's not listed, that would not happen because we're running every single city in North America. So you should, if the city exists, it's in SpecPath. If you don't know the city, it's such a crucial part to SpecPath because if we don't know the city and we don't know the state, because it's all based on zip code as well, because there's so much overlap. And we really do need the city. So if you can get that from somebody, I'll contact you, Dan, offline and get an example of that from you. Don't you think we should have the estimated install date? Yes, I think that's a great idea. I guess we can add anything, we can do anything. So yeah, that would be great if you guys know that, and that would be awesome. So yes, great suggestion, and that will definitely happen. What if the rep enters the project under a slightly different name? It happens all the time, and it's happening to us all the time in SpecPath. Usually, if it's the same exact PDF, it'll catch it. If it's not, meaning one's a photocopy and one's not, or if they have different types of information in them that's missing a page, then we've been catching all of those on the back end. So we usually use the first project that was uploaded by the first rep. When a duplicate comes in, if the system doesn't catch it on the front end, we catch it on the back end. And then we just add your dealer to the existing project, mark yours as a duplicate, and then you're able to see that project. So, will we continue to have to enter projects in Orgo and SpecPath? Probably not. Let me sort of lay it out. So if you can think of a clock, SpecPath is at the very top of the clock. We're at 12 o'clock. And AutoQuotes is at quarter after. Orgo is at half after, and then we'll go back up to noon. It wasn't a very good analogy, sorry. But anyway, so SpecPath is at noon. So we're the first line of this project. The consultants written it. This is how they want it. They've sent it to the GC or the architect sends it to the GC sends it to the dealer asks you to bid it. So you upload it into SpecPath, and then it goes back to the dealership. I'm sorry, you upload it into SpecPath, and then you put a quote together in auto quotes, and then it goes back to the dealer. So, but then your information should be coming out of auto quotes each night and auto filling into Orgo. So hopefully that is happening for all of you. And so when it comes out, if we can keep that project name and everything attached, so then it's going to come out of auto quotes, come into Orgo, and then Orgo and SpecPath are going to be speaking to each other. So the project, you're going to want to put it in SpecPath because it's eventually going to end up in Orgo anyway, if you can keep that project number. So we're going to, yes, take that burden away from you. You don't have to put it in both, but you're going to want to put it in SpecPath first because we're the first part on the clock. Because you need to go SpecPath, auto quotes, Orgo, and then you're already going to have it because you put it in SpecPath, and then you quoted it in Orgo, and then we can transfer the PDF, into your Orgo file, if you keep copies of those and stuff like that. Yes, but you won't have to upload it into two places. We also, some of that stuff some of the data will come out of Orgo that will help, close out these projects as well. So with your permission, we're not going to do anything in your Orgo if you don't want your Orgo and SpecPath to talk. If the project is awarded, will SpecPath tell us who it was awarded to, what dealer? Yes, so you will know what dealer was awarded that project. And I apologize, it's showing this screen as well. But if we look back at this project, you'll be able to see which dealer has been awarded that project. And as you remember, then there's just rep. But this will never go away. You'll always continue to see who was bidding on it and who was awarded it. And in your My Dealer screen, you'll be able to tell. There'll be a column for who the awarded dealer, that they won the project. So, next question. Instruction manual listed a dashboard item as reports, but it's not on my dashboard. Do we have to copy and paste to generate a report? No, and we apologize that we've been working on my reports and got caught up. My reports will be available to you next week. It's on this demo site, is not on the live SpecPath right now, but you will be able to run all your reports from the My Reports section. It just is not live currently on SpecPath, but will be next week. So we apologize for that. So who is responsible for going in and showing it was awarded? We are crowdsourcing that from you guys. We assume that whoever the origination rep is on that project would have a incentive to award that project. So if projects sit around too long without an awarded dealer, we're going to sort of crowdsource and, sort of reach out to you guys. Maybe, do you know who this project's been awarded to? If it's, been sitting around for a while. The manufacturers can also do it. So hopefully, we've explained all that to them. They can help with that as well. So they're able to add a dealer to a project. They're able to award a dealer and do all that kind of stuff. So the only thing manufacturers can't do is upload specifications, but they can add a consultant if they know who the consultant is. So we don't know how much, they'll know, but who knows? Why not? What if a consultant accepts alternate manufacturers, but the manufacturer is not listed on the 11400? How do I get rep visibility to them? If you're a named alternate, you'll definitely see that. If it just says alternates accepted, there's nothing. We can't do that because then you would, the logistics behind that. So then we would have a manufacturer that just said alternates accepted, but then we wouldn't know what product category to even let you know that you have. So it might say, combi oven, alternates accepted, and you don't have a combi oven line, but you're still going to have to see that alternates accepted manufacturer. So, I mean, that's one problem or one thing that we can't, if you're not named as an alternate, we can't really show you all the, projects that say any alternates are accepted. It just from a logistics standpoint and from a standpoint of we don't know what product categories and whatnot we'd have to compare them back. So no, if it's alternates accepted, then it would still be, the onus is on probably your rep firm to go through that PDF and take a look. Can I print my mini specs exactly as shown? Yes, we'll have a print feature currently. We don't, but we'll add a print button for that, so you can just print that page. How many manufacturers are participating in SpecPath at this point? So we have, like I said, we're running every brand in SpecPath, regardless of whether they're participating or not, because MAFSI members, we only have 260 manufacturer members. There's a lot more that you guys rep that aren't even members. But currently we have about 50 manufacturers that are participating, and they love it. We've had 2 webinars. A lot that they brought up today was what they would like to see, because it's, if they don't have a lot of reps participating in SpecPath, then, obviously they don't have a lot of information. What they're looking to do is they want to remunerate the right rep. That's why a lot of them are signing up. They want to focus on the spec market, and they want to pay the right rep, and they know that the way to do that is through SpecPath. And also maybe cut down on some of the paperwork going back and forth with spec credits, have everything digitized. So we're going to be encouraging more reps to sign up. As I said, we had 73 rep firms sign up, which is a good number. We're at 100, we'll be at 50% of all MAFSI reps. But, and then also, to have you guys upload specs, because that's a lot of the questions we get. So why does this rep have a lot of specs and this rep doesn't have a lot of specs? And mostly it has to, even if they're both subscribers. So it mostly has to do with, if you're an active rep and you're uploading a lot of specs, then you have a lot of stuff for that manufacturer, and they're asking about that. Like, why does this rep not have, if they're a subscriber, why don't they have any specs? And it's simply because the reps aren't uploading the specs from those regions. They're just sort of, I think, sitting back and watching, which is they're more than welcome to do that. So, but as far as the credit tracking feature, we are wondering how the PO number, acknowledged number will be put in the fields. Who is responsible for putting this in? So it can either come out of the manufacturer system if they're using like the credit tracking information in auto quotes. It can come out of your Orgo if you're using Orgo. Or you could hand enter it in. The manufacturers, customer service people can hand enter it in as well. And we've talked to them about that and encouraged them, and they are open to that. So there's a bunch of different ways, but we want to take as much responsibility off of you guys as possible. So as much as we can automate would be great, but that's why that project number is so important. How will the manufacturer extract this info from SpecPath in order to help us get the proper credit? So the manufacturer knows as well. They have a credit tracking system on their side. So instead it lists their rep firms, and then when you get down to here, it shows them who should get the credit for each of these. So who is the spec rep? Who is the destination rep? Who is the origination rep on this project? Here's my PO number, my acknowledgement number, my invoice. I have paid the spec rep, and then we would want the spec rep to acknowledge this. So these check boxes, this would be available to the rep. This would be available to the manufacturer. So the manufacturer can see all their projects in SpecPath on this screen, and then see who the 3 reps are that they need to pay on this project. Does SpecPath have any way to provide on which dealer won the project, what those PO numbers are, or is SpecPath? The only way we know, I should finish. Does SpecPath have a way to provide information on which dealer won the project, what the PO numbers are, or is SpecPath 100% dependent on the users providing that information? SpecPath doesn't have any way to know which dealer won without crowdsourcing from you guys. Like I said, we'll reach out if a project's been sitting around for a while and not awarded. But SpecPath won't know who's awarded. We have to rely on you guys and the manufacturers to let us know who was awarded that project. And then the PO numbers I just went over. Is it possible to get a list of which manufacturers are in SpecPath? Yes, we'll send that out to all the reps because the manufacturers want the same exact list for them. They want to know which reps are participating so they can see if their reps are. And then also if you are in SpecPath, you can look at your brand list, and an S next to your brand indicates that that manufacturer is a subscriber as well if you want to look in SpecPath. But yes, well, after this call, we'll get a list to all the reps of the manufacturers that have signed up so far, and we'll send the manufacturers the same thing. Can you go through how to send a spec credit to our factory? Yes, that's part of my credits. And what we'll be doing is fleshing this out. So the spec credit will be sent from here. We're hoping, you know, if you're a member of SpecPath and your manufacturer is a member of SpecPath, we're hoping that, you know, this can eventually replace all of that back and forth. But we know that a lot of the manufacturers, you know, aren't on SpecPath or anything. So this screen, you'll enter in what email should receive those spec credit notices. And then it'll go out to them, and we'll, even whether they're a member of SpecPath or not, we'll inform them when stuff happens, like when the dealer's awarded and stuff. So they know that the job's to move forward and you guys need to get paid. So it'll be, those will go out by email through the system. And then we know Orgo has a spec credit tracking thing too. So you could either use Orgo spec credit or MAFSI or SpecPath spec credit, but they'll talk to each other. So you won't have to do both. So you can either do here and then it will feed into the Orgo, or the Orgo spec credit will feed in here, but it will keep that manufacturer updated through the process as well. It won't just send one email that says, hey, you know, I might need spec credit. It will actually follow it through. So what is the subscription fee? I apologize. It is $150 a month per rep firm. So right here, $150 per month. That you can have as many users as you would like from your rep firm. If we don't have them in the MemberClicks database right now, you can just contact info@mafsi.org, and we'll send you a form. You fill it out with just a few fields, and we'll get a record set up from them, and they'll be good to go. So $150 per firm, as many users from your firm as you'd like. Okay, so I don't have all the choices on my dashboard. No account, no spec credit, a couple of others. Yes, my credit tracking, my account, and my reports, those will not be available until next week. I apologize. So you will not see those on the real SpecPath. Once a project is awarded, does it move then to my credit tracking? If so, is it up to the rep to track a project when it is awarded and who was awarded to? Yes, I mean, it will be on my credit tracking from the very beginning, but you will be notified when a project's awarded and who it was awarded to. You'll be notified by email, and you'll also be able to look in SpecPath at any time to see who was awarded. But you'll be notified that this project has been awarded to this dealer. So if another rep in my group uploads specs before I do I get access to those without any action by my group? Yes. So you do get, if the project affects you, you do. One thing we're looking at to reward the reps that do upload the specs is once we can get this system really fast, say we get it down to an hour. So within an hour, you could use it to quote. Then at that point, we're only going to let the rep that has uploaded that project see it for maybe the first 12 hours or what. Now, we haven't really fleshed that out. We're just trying to think of some incentives and rewarding the reps that are uploading projects so they would be able to service that dealer faster. If you upload the same project that someone already has uploaded, it's not just the first rep. You would still get a see then to quote it too. But yeah, so anytime a rep uploads a spec, it benefits everybody on the spec, no matter who if they didn't upload it, but they still are on the project. So what if the dealer is in different locations, but you don't have the location of the dealer? Samtel is in New York and other locations, but if we have a location in Rhode Island that is not showing on your lease, do we put as new dealer? Yes, you do. If you don't see the branch office for your dealer in here, that is not by design. So we want to see all of the dealers. So here, let's go here instead. So obviously these are, let me see if you SAMTEL is what you referenced it. So these are just the SAMTEL that are in New York. So, and talking about a SAMTEL in Rhode Island. So the New England rep would be able to see the SAMTEL in Rhode Island. It's not going to appear on this list, but if it's not here, we want it. If we want every dealer satellite office, every dealer branch, every dealer, everything. So yes, just use new dealer on the upload specification screen and give us that dealer. We will add it for you. So can you tell us which manufacturers have signed on? Yes, I'm going to send you that list and what they have access to. Can they grade reps based on the info provided? They can see this same table with their rep firms. So if that's, I guess what you mean by grade, yes, they can see how many items each of the rep firms, how many items and how many projects each of the rep firms has for them. So everything else looks identical here, except for this tab for them says My Rep Firms. I would like to talk further on how this will link with Orgo. We're heavily involved. I'll reach out to you individually and we'll get the rest of you guys out something more. Orgo, we're still fleshing it out. We hope to have it worked out in the next month. So how far can the specs be uploaded if we join SpecPath this month? So when we started SpecPath, we went back and forth on whether or not we go back to the end of the year or to the beginning of the year, sorry. At this point, we're just, from this point forward, I don't know if you guys are interested in backloading your specs to the first of the year, but we can do a survey on that if you wanted a full year's data, or if we just consider the start date of SpecPath and then a year from now. But so if you want to upload specs, we can take them. So, but most of the reps have just been uploading more recent specs since we launched. So is $150 a month per cost per rep firm or per user? It's per rep firm. It's $150 per rep firm. You can have as many users as you want. Or someone was talking about foreign locations. They couldn't enter in a project's foreign location. We've had one other one like that as well. And I've talked to them about that. So, about whether or not they would be listed as the destination rep for something that is outside of the country. For instance, Kuwait is what we're talking about right now. So I will get with this user on that and I'll get some answers for you guys as well. So because I was told by the other rep that they wouldn't be listed as the destination rep, so we just put it in as undefined because it was in China. So right now it's just North American cities that are listed in the program. SpecPath My Reports, is there a report for sending out spec credits to our factories? Yes, there will be. You'll be able to automatically do that in SpecPath by just clicking a button. So AutoQuotes and SpecPath will link with the PO number. No, we haven't talked to AutoQuotes about that yet. AutoQuotes, it was brought up on the phone call earlier by the manufacturers that said, if AutoQuotes doesn't care, you can just take it out of our AutoQuotes feed. So that's our goal, but we have to talk to AutoQuotes about that first. So hopefully. Can you explain the flow from SpecPath to AutoQuotes to Orgo again? What is exported from SpecPath to AutoQuotes? There's no export now from SpecPath to AutoQuotes. I talked to Michael Greenwald back in February, and we were just sort of shooting around ideas. It would be a big undertaking just because of the model numbers and the way the consultant, matching those up to make a clean import for you guys into AutoQuotes. But, who knows? Maybe down the line it would just be a lot of mapping of model numbers because we would want, everything to work good for you, with an import. And it's just so much variation, I guess, as you guys all know. So at this point, there's no import from SpecPath into AutoQuotes. You could have, to quote, you could have this screen up on one computer monitor, so you can see all the accessories, and have your AutoQuotes up on another monitor, and then enter in the job into AutoQuotes. I mean, yeah, eventually we would like to figure out some sort of way, and we've talked to AutoQuotes about it, briefly, but we haven't really Michael and I were talking, and we talked even a year ago. So it just was once we get SpecPath done and we can talk further, and now we're finally at that point. So at this point, nothing goes directly into AutoQuotes, but you could use, you wouldn't have to use the PDF. You could use this screen instead. So once you put your stuff in AutoQuotes, if you're on Orgo, then there's a MAFSI feed that goes every night out of AutoQuotes into your Orgo, and all the Orgo users have been using those AutoQuotes feeds for the years that Orgo's been on. Even if you don't use Orgo, you can still get that AutoQuotes feed. So it's a MAFSI AutoQuotes feed. It's just a feed of all your projects and AutoQuotes for the day, and then it just is it just gets sent to the Orgo users, and then they import it into Orgo every morning, from what I understand. So, but like I said, if you don't use Orgo, if you some people that are using Salesforce, they get their AutoQuotes exports too. So you just need to let us know that you want it, and we'll set it up with AutoQuotes. And so that's how AutoQuotes and Orgo talk to each other, is through that AutoQuotes export every evening. So, do we still have to file spec credits, or will the manufacturer use this to award credit? Yes, we would love it if the manufacturers and the reps just use this to award credit. That's our goal. So you don't have to keep going back and forth with these spec credit forms. However, the manufacturer has to be a member, and the rep has to be a member in order for that to work. So both of them have to be subscribers. But yes, so I would encourage, if you are a subscriber and your manufacturer is a subscriber, to switch to this system instead of filing spec credits, because you'll be able to see everything on this screen without having to have a million emails go back and forth. Will there be a standard spec credit form be universal for all factories? Yes, it will be. So it's when MAFSI's created a long time ago, it just is basic. It will just basically have, we talked about maybe not including I know you guys sometimes send a copy of the specs and that kind of stuff with it, but we wouldn't have to do that. All we'd have to do is send the spec credit form, as well as this information, which is for a manufacturer, this would be just their stuff on the project. So for instance, if you were sending a spec credit request form to brand 814, it would just be this item, and this item, and that would go, be filled into a form, and then that would be emailed to them. So they could see all this information, but we wouldn't have to attach the project, because basically what you're giving them is, their stuff on the project that you want spec credit for. Will there be another webinar in the future? Can this be viewed on the MAFSI site? This will be can be viewed on the MAFSI site, and will also be available. We'll send it to you guys by email, so you'll be able to forward it on to other people if you would like them to watch it. What has been the biggest challenge getting this off the ground, other than reps signing up? I think just the development. It was just sort of a twinkle in our eyes, and but then you have to sort of figure out, well, what would it look like, and how would it work, and what do we want to report, and how do we want to report that? So I guess just building it from the ground up and sort of visualizing it, and then obviously software issues, just development issues. Everything takes a lot longer, and we know we've been said it's been coming forever, but it's here. And then also the consultants. Oh, I have so much empathy for you guys now. These consultants, I've never seen specs. They're so different from consultant to consultant to consultant. I have such respect for you guys. I can't believe that you've been dealing with this for years. So yeah, the consultant specs have been, and just building all those aliases and the different ways they write things. And, because we want to automate, we have automated all of this. The system does all of this parsing for us automatically. So just, it's crazy how different they write these specs, even how different they write item numbers. Sometimes they don't even put the word item before number. So that sends the system off into a frenzy, because it doesn't know where to look for the items. So we built in all these different parsing options to take care of those as well. So anyway. Yes, please contact us if you have any other further questions. Somebody wanted to gather their team and give us more questions. If the consultant does not spec the items correctly, then the mapping would not seem to work. I'm not quite sure what that means. So if you can type in an update when you say the mapping would not seem to work, I don't know what specking the items correctly means. I mean, they put duplicates items numbers in all the time, like they repeat the number 14 or stuff like that. I don't know if that's what you mean. So Dan Martin, if you can retype a little bit more for that question, that would be great. What internet browsers is this compatible with? It's compatible with all browsers. We found out yesterday there was an issue with the My Projects page with Internet Explorer. I believe it's been fixed, but it will be fixed within the next couple of days. But all browsers, there we did discover a problem yesterday with a couple of the pages just on Internet Explorer. But like I said, that I need to check with the developer to see if that's been fixed. But other than that, compatible with all. So, and that is all the questions. So I apologize, I went a little bit over. So I did not hear back from. If spec does not list the quantity and only refers you to the plan, how is this handled? That is handled this way. So if you see this on your project, QPP, that means quantity per plan. Like I said, we don't have the plans 98% of the time, so we don't know that quantity. So you're still going to have to refer to the plan, back to the plan. We will just mark it as quantity per plan in SpecPath. So, and then lots are listed like this. All right, well, I said, I thought this would convert a spec for auto quotes. Did I miss something? Yeah, no, we don't convert the specs for auto quotes. You can use it to quote in to auto quotes. So that's what I just was talking about right when I was on this screen a couple of minutes ago. You could have this screen up on one screen and then have your auto quotes up on the other, so you can quote directly just your items for this project into auto quotes and see all the accessories. But, MAFSI and auto quotes have talked, very lightly about this because we have just said we need to get it done first to show them auto quotes what we have. And so we haven't had a chance to, rediscuss this again. So to see if there's any way that we can automate this import for you, but currently no. So will a schedule work at all? Yes, so an equipment schedule, let me show you guys what I mean by that. So right here, if this is what we can now accept as well. So if you have the submittal sheet or the equipment schedule, usually this is attached to 5 more pages, which are the actual drawing. You don't have to separate this page out. Just send us the whole drawing, and then we'll go in here, we'll cut this equipment schedule out for you, and then we have a way to then OCR this and to parse this for you, and then this will be uploaded. So it'll look just like the other written specs, but but everything here is in a table. So yes, send over your equipment schedules. You do not need to take them out of the drawing. You can just send the whole drawing and we'll cut these out for you and then we'll parse them for you. So yes, we can accept equipment schedules. So, all right, well, I will let you guys go. I want to thank you very much. We want to thank you guys for supporting this. We want to thank you for supporting it by even coming on the phone call if you're not a member of SpecPath yet. We hope you will soon. The reps that are on it really like it. We're working every day to make it better for you. And we're working every day. Our whole goal with this is to help you guys get paid. And for what you do, according to what your contract says you should get paid for. So we hope you like it. We'll take any suggestions, any comments, any criticism to heart. And all we want to do is make this great for you guys. So with that, happy Friday and have a great day.